week we're looking at 4 films. The first of these is a new superhero film called Blue Beetle. Scott, would you introduce that to us?
Sure. So Blue Beetle is the newest superhero flick from DC, and it tells the origin story of Jaime Reyes, who turns into the titular Blue Beetle. Here's the clip.
Did you know what was going to happen to my brother when you stuck him with this world-destroying thing?
It's called the Scarab.
I had no idea it would activate. It has to choose you.
So how do we get it to unchoose me?
Host acquired.
Who said that?
Systems tracking 3,
okay,
2.
It's gonna be okay.
Uptown, baby. I was down, but they see I'm up now, baby.
Host overreacting.
Overreacting? You kidnapped me!
Right, I must admit, because I'm on holidays this week, I have yet to see Blue Beetle. I seem to have heard mixed reports on it. Scott, what did you make of it?
So I was quite looking forward to this one to some extent, based on the trailer and the presence of the lead actor, who I've been a big fan of from the Cobra Kai TV series. This film was a bit of a mashup of a lot of similar superheroes we've seen in the past. We've got a kind of Venom / Upgrade type of symbiotic relationship going on. To set roughly what the film's about, we've got this alien technology called the Scarab, and we've got a evil CEO played by Susan Sarandon, who's after this technology to create some sort of army type thing. And for various reasons, this Scarab gets in the hands of our lead character, Jaime, and combines with him in order to turn him into this titular Blue Beetle superhero. This movie is all about family to some extent, and particularly the Reyes family, who we get to meet at the start of the movie. They're all very nice enough. It's quite good chemistry between them all. It reminded me in some ways of Ms. Marvel, although not quite as good as that. All the stuff at the start of the film, outside of the suit, I was enjoying that. I liked the characters. I liked the dynamic that was going on. The problem for me came after the whole superhero transformation, and the film just started to go downhill, and it lost me pretty quickly after that. I thought that there was a lot of CGI, crashy, smashy, typical superhero stuff going on. There wasn't enough context, I think, within the script for us to really care, in my opinion. I think we needed to know more about this alien technology. I think we needed to know more about the corporation that Sarandon's character was running. And for me, I mentioned Ms. Marvel. Where I think this film was let down is I don't think it should have been a film. I think this should have been a miniseries. And I think that would have given more time to get us used to these characters and to get more of the backstory. Because I just didn't care. Latter half of the movie, we get all the big boss fights, and it's all very predictable, generic stuff that we're seeing. And by the end of it, I was like, it's just not working for me very well at all. What I should say as well is Susan Sarandon as the villainous Victoria Cord. I actually thought she was the highlight of the film. The dialogue she's given is cheesy as heck, but she hammed it up big time, and I thought played it really well for what she was given. I think for me, the problem just was that I'm not going to remember much about this film. It reminds me of too many other things, but not as good as them. And yeah, I think for DC's penultimate film before the James Gunn takeover, it's a bit of a damp squib.
Emma, did you have a different view?
Yes and no. So I wasn't really hoping for much from this. Still, I think we've mentioned it in previous episodes, still feeling that superhero fatigue somewhat. And I am definitely a Marvel girl over DC. But the thing was that I had no previous knowledge of this character, which I think actually worked in its favour. Like, I wasn't going in with any expectations. I was like, this is brand new. I literally knew nothing about it. So I think that definitely helped. And also the trailer looks it's very much on the humour side rather than an action film, which I personally prefer. They do tend to be my favourites, like, Thor Ragnarok and Aquaman, just for the daft humour that comes out of them. So I really enjoyed it for that reason. And I think I did not like Susan Sarandon in this, but I think that's just because I am like familiar with her in nice roles as opposed to being the villain. I just can't. She's too nice. I can't see her being evil. It's just not how it works. I really enjoyed George Lopez as Jaime's uncle. I thought he was hilarious, and it just really piqued my humour all the way through.
Oh, Scott's shaking his head though.
Sorry, Scott.
No, that was one things that although I said I liked the family, I thought he was a little bit too much for me. I wasn't into his humour.
Oh, no, that hit the spot for me, I'm afraid. That and Nana. I mean, I want that Nana. She needs to be in my family. And I didn't like. I liked the action scenes. I like the CGI was going to be a bit naff because of what it was trying to create, but actually, on the scale of things, I was finding it quite good. It wasn't too bad. I liked the way the suit created all the extra things for him to fight with, and yes, at times maybe some of the storyline was a little bit convoluted, and like you say, not necessarily enough context, but I think that worked for me because it left you being able to sort of come to your own conclusions without them laying it all out, which actually in this instance, when you don't know the characters, I actually think that worked for me.
But how did the suit create all this stuff? Where is the physics in it? Anyway, I'm not going to...
Nanotechnology from space, that's what I'm going with.
Yeah, that's what we were told.
Nanotechnology and a super AI somewhere, probably. Andy, what did you make of Blue Beetle?
Yeah, I think I feel somewhere between Scott and Emma. I really quite enjoyed it. Because as Emma said, I knew nothing about the character. I knew nothing about the backstory. I enjoyed discovering what it was all about. I thought the smashy, crashy, bangy stuff was fine. But what I really liked was the involvement of our hero's family. So, if you think about it, Peter Parker never told his aunt who he was. Clark Kent doesn't tell really too many people who he is. Bruce Wayne doesn't tell people he's Batman. But in this film, the superhero is transformed into a superhero right before the eyes of his family. And then they get involved in what he's trying to do. And I thought that was refreshingly different. I thought that was really good. We got a superhero who doesn't have to hide his identity from those that are nearest and dearest to him. And as Emma says, I want that gun-toting Nana who's out there with him, dispensing of the bad guys and having great fun doing it. So I sort of fall between the two. I enjoyed it. I thought it was one of the better superhero movies I've seen this year. Not up there, of course, with Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, but I just had a really good time. Like Scott says, I'm probably not going to remember much of it. Ask me next week and it'd probably be gone. But when it was on the screen, when I was sat there, I thought, I'm not wasting my time here. I'm actually having a good time. But it was that element of family being involved with our superhero right from the beginning and knowing who he was and then having to care for him and look after him that I thought was refreshingly different.
Okay, right. So, scores on the doors for Blue Beetle. Emma?
I'm going to go with an 8.
An 8. Andy?
I'm going with an 8 as well.
Okay, Scott?
Don't want to go this low, but I'm giving it a 5.
Well, I like that because 8 and 5 is 21, so you can divide that by 3, and it gives a Flickering Dreams score of 7.0, which makes it a marginal. Okay, right. Marginal, but it's a hit. Okay.